Hi, Alex, Evo. It's great to be here with you today. Based on your experience and the folks that you're speaking to in the space, what specific challenges do procurement professionals encounter nowadays?
Hey guys, my name is Alex. I'm the product manager here at mysupply. My background is mainly in product, business analysis, and operations. I'm very happy to be here, so thanks again. Great question. In short, too many complex solutions. Procurement teams nowadays have to use a variety of different tools just to complete their daily tasks. And some of these have been developed 20 or even 30 years ago, with new features just piling up on top of already clunky software. And what this leads to is very, very high complexity. And that in turn leads to high training costs and an overall decrease in efficiency. A clear example of that is we see very often big corporations who have to tailor their own internal processes just to make better use of certain tools. And I think that should be completely reversed. Company policies should be aimed at improving efficiency and not at making software work better.
Yes, and all that bad tech is causing a lot of burnout. How does that affect sourcing strategies and what opportunities are being missed?
Well, when complexity is so high, procurement teams simply don't have the time to do everything. Very often things are overlooked. For example, we don't invite all the relevant suppliers. And even the ones we do invite, we often don't negotiate and just accept the first quote. And this results in a lot of missed savings. Very often decisions are made based on what's easiest and not what's best. And the result is simply a lot of unmanaged spend. On top of this, well, some things are negotiated because we do have tactical buyers and operational buyers. But when negotiations are happening offline, and by that I mean over the phone, face to face, via email, or any other way, it's very difficult to utilize historical data into the decision making. And the key to success becomes how senior the procurement team is. On the other hand, if you have a tool that can utilize all the historical experience and expertise and help you make decisions based on that, the game is completely different. Can you imagine what would sourcing look like if any junior buyer could access the knowledge of an experienced CPO, for example?
That's a lot of money being left on the table. Evo, I think this is something you're passionate about.
Thank you for having me today. My name is Ivailo and I'm Customer Success Manager at mysupply. My responsibilities include onboarding new customers and assuring that they extract the most value of our tool throughout their journey with mysupply.
What daily challenges do procurement professionals face in managing these demands and maintaining transparency? How does it affect spend management?
Well, from operational procurement perspective, things don't look much better. Generally, procurement specialists are operating at very high capacity with informal processes dominating the day-to-day life of a operational buyer, for example. They are sending tens of RFQs to multiple suppliers per email. Then they are negotiating, they are comparing the offers in Excel and maybe negotiating on the phone. This is always, it's really time consuming and not always worth the hassle for the savings that could be achieved. Managers, for example, strive to optimize the efforts by introducing shortened buying processes for certain value ranges. Sometimes some companies forego these processes and purchase from the first supplier who answers the request. This is typically done for value below 10K, but sometimes it's 25, 50, even 100,000 euro. Needless to say, the higher the threshold, the lesser spend is under management and the more potential savings are missed.
How does inefficient communication with suppliers and stakeholders impact procurement processes? What are the consequences?
Well, being in the middle between requesters and suppliers simply slows everyone down. Suppliers can't provide quotes if they're missing some info, Requesters need their stuff on time, and procurement must switch between tasks, prioritize urgent demands.
Yes, and prioritization is everything in procurement. How do these pain points affect a company's long-term sourcing strategy?
All these pain points consume very much of the capacity of procurement teams, focusing efforts mainly into administrative and operational tasks. But instead, most procurement specialists that I know would very much prefer to increase their niche industry knowledge and to get better in negotiating.
Great points, Ivo.
And that's actually how mysupply started. Sorry to interrupt, Ivo. mysupply started by simply automating the negotiations. So we combined procurement knowledge with game theory algorithms to train our system on how to best negotiate a certain set of items. Just a side note for those who don't know, game theory is pretty much a toolkit that helps us understand how people behave in situations where the outcome doesn't depend only on their own actions, but on the actions of others as well. In our case, this means multiple suppliers competing for one request. We started with the system really suggesting how to best negotiate a certain group of offers and then actually executing the negotiation as well. Once we had that covered, we realized there's a big disconnect with the previous steps of the process. So we had to cover the full sourcing from defining the request, adding all the items that you need, inviting the suppliers, taking their initial bids, and actually even evaluating them. And once we could cover all of these steps manually, the next logical step was to automate them, or rather give our users the ability to control how each of these steps is automatically executed. We also figured out that we need to tailor our solution so that it can work for each company individually. For example, there are many tools out there that can help you identify new potential suppliers for a request. But in mysupply, we use AI to actually suggest which of your own suppliers would be a best fit to deliver a certain item. And right now, we're actually expanding even more than that by trying to cover individual requests before they even reach procurement, so that we can help category managers define how each category should be sourced, whether it's through a self-service, central procurement, or any other way.
That's so interesting, Alex. I had no idea that's exactly how mysupply got started. So what motivated the decision to expand your solution to encompass the entire sourcing process, demand building, and supplier search? Alex?
Thanks for the question. Well, initially, the idea was to focus on the negotiations. And all of that was great, but we soon realized it's not really enough, and there are gaps in the process before. A quick example, it doesn't really matter how well mysupply can negotiate if I've only invited one of my potential suppliers, but there were 10 others lined out that could also submit a quote. I'm not only missing on potential savings, but the whole dynamic of the negotiation will be different with 10 suppliers as opposed to one. And if we cover the whole process from beginning to end, we can add intelligence on every step of the way, and so that nothing really slips through. Something else that a lot of our customers, especially the biggest ones, ask us is, all right, but how does mysupply fit into my existing architecture and into my existing processes? What do I need to change? And this was key for us when we were thinking about these things a while ago. We wanted to make sure that mysupply can fit into any company without them needing to do any change management. And I'll give a quick example with Ariba, because everybody knows Ariba. How we usually handle things is you create the PR your standard way in Ariba. We extract the PR automatically. We get all the information to mysupply. We do the sourcing in mysupply, and then all the important data we feed back into Ariba, so that your PR to PO process remains unchanged, and any existing or additional approvals that you need to do can happen. And that's pretty much it. And my example was with Ariba, but we can pretty much do a similar concept with any system, and it doesn't matter what system you use.
Yes, it's all about how it integrates, right? You have to create that flow. Could you share specific examples of initial success with cost savings and effort reduction through smart negotiations, autonomous sourcing? Ivo?
So, yeah, our approach to autonomous sourcing is very incremental. We start by automating recurring purchases. These are same items, same quantities, same suppliers, bought under the same conditions. Basically, processes that are executed repetitively in known recurring periods. The role of the buyer there is to simply click and follow some steps each time. So maybe categories that fit into these are office supplies, cleaning supplies, software licenses, sometimes even some services. Um, and we automate these purchases from RFQ through evaluation all the way to negotiation and awarding. So they are executed automatically and without human input. Such an approach lowers substantially the operational efforts for the team. And more importantly, it helps utilize potential savings. Customer of ours, for example, is buying 7,000 liters diesel weekly this way, completely automated. And although it's nothing mind-blowing, it is just the peace of mind knowing that you don't have to do anything and complete the task anyway.
Yes, and peace of mind is everything. Alex, can you provide details on the automation features in mysupply, how they address procurement challenges?
Yes, of course. Let's start from the beginning. Imagine you're a procurement specialist and you're looking at a large list of items that you need to buy. It's a common occurrence. And the first question that you need to answer is, all right, where do I start? What do I buy? And how do I buy it? Typically, if you can bundle things together and buy them as a group, you not only save effort, but you're likely to get a better deal because when you package things together, typically the suppliers are also happy. So that's the first thing that mysupply does automatically. We analyze all of your demands and we package them together in groups of things that can be sourced together. And for each of these groups, we analyze your internal supplier list to see which suppliers are the best fit for this group. Okay, we know what we need to buy and we know who can probably deliver it. What we do next is we can automatically invite your suppliers, invite them on our platform and ask them to submit a quote and fill in all the important details. And this typically happens without any procurement costs. The next steps after we receive the offers is the evaluation steps. Now we can use any custom data that you might have internally and incorporate it into the mysupply tool so that it's automatically taken into account for the evaluation, or we can utilize any openly available data source online. A good example for evaluation, something that's pretty big amongst some of our customers lately is sustainability. We help some of our customers incorporate sustainability metrics into the evaluation automatically so that procurement decisions take that into account. Obviously, the next step is the negotiation. That has been automated from the very beginning, so no questions there. And all of this is actually just from an individual buyer perspective. If we take a step back, we allow category managers to log in on mysupply and define how the tool should automate the flow for each of their categories. Should something be bought in a catalog? Should something be handled in self-service? And if yes, what are the limits and the thresholds? Or should it just go to central procurement? And if it comes to central procurement, should it be executed automatically? Should we wait for a manual decision? And so on and so forth. all these questions can be answered by the category managers so that they're in complete control. And in a nutshell, that's what we try to do. We try to automate the flow as much as possible while making sure that procurement is always in control.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that you're able to take advantage of that existing data and really give power back to those category managers. So, Ivo, how do you address internal resistance to using systems and tools?
Well, naturally, the most intuitive but almost always wrong path is the one with least resistance. So internal resistance is always a factor when adopting a new solution. There is always this comparison between as-is process and should-be process. But what I found for us is that the best way to deal with it is to earn your customers' trust first and keep earning it with each interaction. Another important point is involving the end user in early on in the process to be aligned on expectations and goals. And mainly, last but not least, naturally having clearly defined goals and KPIs helps the results speak for themselves objectively.
Yes. And once you have a customer's trust, you have everything. So, Alex and Ivo, in terms of future development, what is the next major milestone for mysupply? What upcoming features or advancements are on the horizon to help companies stay in step with the ever-evolving landscape of procurement? Alex?
Yes, there are exciting new features coming up, and there is a good example, something that we're working on with a partner. I'm not sure if I can mention their name, so I won't for now. Imagine a chat application, for example, your company Teams app, and your employees could just start a new chat and chat with an AI assistant where they can say, I need to buy something. The AI assistant will help them define the specifications properly so that we have full and proper description from the start to avoid back and forth later. And then based on the category, the bot can either present them options from a catalog, for example, add to cart and receive it 2 days later, or they can guide the user through a self-service flow directly in the chat. So the bot can either suggest some information or ask the user to give it directly. This could be which suppliers to invite or where do we need this delivered, things like that. The request will be handled automatically by mysupply in the background. And once the suppliers give some initial offers, the user will just get a notification in the app. They can open the same chat, see all the offers received, and accept or reject each of them. Once that's confirmed, we'll handle the negotiations on the back end and just confirm the deal back to the requester once it's finalized. And all of that is obviously integrated fully into any customer CRM. But the best thing about this approach is that you don't actually need to introduce a new system to your employees, and they can use, for example, Teams.
What aspect of the experience with mysupply excites your customers the most? And in what ways do you anticipate it will bring a positive impact on the future of their procurement strategies and operations? Ivo?
Yeah, customers are most thrilled about the chance to free themselves from tedious and repetitive tasks through mysupply. And this newly found freedom allows to redirect resources into more creative and strategic endeavors, which in the short term influences operational efficiency positively. And in the long term, it sets the stage for significant strategic advancements. The shift does not only streamline current processes, but also paves the way for positive transformation in the overall procurement strategies and operations. Thanks.
Thank you all so much for sharing your expertise.
Thanks.